On Tuesday, the House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol voted unanimously to refer former Trump White House strategist Steve Bannon to the Justice Department for criminal charges, setting up a full House vote on Thursday to hold Bannon in contempt for defying a congressional subpoena.
It's a shame that Mr. Bannon has put us in this position, but we won't take no for an answer. No one in this country, no matter how wealthy or how powerful, is above the law. We won't be deterred, we won't be distracted, and we won't be delayed.
The move comes after Bannon refused to provide documents to the committee or appear for a slated deposition following an assertion from former President Trump that he would challenge the committee on executive privilege grounds.
In the words of many who participated in the January 6th attack, the violence that day was in direct response to President Trump's repeated claims from election night through January 6th that he had won the election. The American people are entitled to Mr. Bannon's firsthand testimony about all of these relevant facts. But as the chairman noted, Mr. Bannon is refusing to provide it.
Yeah, and then there's some breaking news I just saw on this. This is from CNN. I'm reading from CNN on Twitter. House GOP leaders are recommending a no vote on the criminal contempt referral for Steve Bannon. House GOP whip Steve Scalise announced in conference this morning, according to a source in the room. So they're not going to want. I wondered if maybe they would throw Bannon to the wolves, but apparently not. So there we go.
Yeah, really interesting. I mean, this is kind of, I think this is going based off a podcast, some comments that he made on a podcast, and then they were then wanting to request information based on those comments. He kind of said, oh, you know, what's going to happen tomorrow is something you've never seen before. All hell's going to break loose. And I'm kind of paraphrasing. But it was.
They missed that he says that every day.
Right. He was being ominous on his War Room podcast.
Right.
And they took those comments and they were like, oh, well, we need to now know what he said in private to Donald Trump. And, you know, he refused to provide it. And this is kind of, you know, this just sort of goes back to those obstruction of, right, this is like an obstruction of justice sort of thing, where they can't find that you've actually committed the crime that they're trying to get you for. So they end up trying to get you instead for obstruction of justice, which, of course, no one should stand in the way, and no one is above the law. I totally agree with that. But I think, you know, we want to see evidence of the actual crime that they're trying to pin on these people rather than constantly going after this lower hanging fruit of obstruction.
Yeah.
But
the HarrisX poll asked voters their views on the January 6th investigation in Congress. So let's take a look at what they said. The poll found 54% of voters said the investigation of the January 6th Capitol riots by a special committee of the House of Representatives brought together by Nancy Pelosi is more of a partisan exercise to gain political points, while 46% said it's working as an independent inquiry into what happened. 70% of Democrats said it's working as an independent inquiry into what happened, while 79% of Republicans and 55% of independents said it's more of a partisan exercise to gain political points, which it sort of clearly it can be a political exercise to gain points and also, I guess, valid in some way. What do you think, Ryan?
Well, yeah, 55% of independents saying that it was an independent exercise trying to get to the bottom of things is interesting. Also interesting that 30% of Democrats said it was a partisan exercise. A significant number of those are probably like, this is a partisan exercise and I fully support it, and scoring points.
Well, that's my issue. I don't understand what their what is there left to find? It speaks to exactly what Kim just said, that at some point you're just doing that, well, can we get anyone on not actual charges, but impeding our investigation in some dubious way, and then we can put people in jail? Because, look, we all know we know what happened. It was really bad. We know Trump is morally responsible, but the Senate declined to hold him accountable in anything beyond impeachment, right? He was impeached, but not removed from office. So what else can you, like, there's nothing, the highest relevant authority here said we're not going to do anything more with this. So I think at some point it's like you have to move on. There's nothing else to be done, and we just can't like treat every day like it's January 7th.
Well, they can, and they will, I think,
Right.
until midterms and probably well into 2024 as well, getting ready for that election. It's obviously to fearmonger and scare voters and to say, look, this is how bad and terrible the other side is. This is what they do. And also there's a lot of course, never Trump Republicans that are also very much, they don't want to see a resurgence of Trump or anybody that was affiliated or supportive of him. And so, this is definitely used, and I think we're going to continue to see this used, and they will milk this for as long as they possibly can, and probably even longer than they possibly can, just to get people to think, oh my gosh, if we don't vote for, the Democrat side, then we're going to end up with these evil people on the other side.
The other side is bad and evil, and we, the good side, are going to put in prison everyone tangentially related to that evil side.
Right.
Really, really clarifying there.
And that's how you get out of not doing anything.
Exactly.
Well, we'll have more Rising right after this. Stay with us.